Hey guys, how are you today? I'm just going to touch on a few headlines from End Times headlines. It's not social media, it's not the mainstream media. More major disasters strike the U.S. food production. Are you prepared for what comes next? I'm going to just skim through stuff. Um, there have been global food crises coming on now in the United States and everywhere for a while now. Unfortunately, most of the population still doesn't grasp what is happening, or maybe they just have too much faith in the powers that be. They always think that something's going to turn out, but farmers are telling us loudly as they can that everything is definitely not okay, and it's not going to be okay. I have never seen America's farmers this alarmed of what is ahead. And everything that we're witnessing in the U.S. and around the globe is set for the stage for the sort of historic famines that this man has been relentlessly warning readers about. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see. Many seem to believe that we're going to be immune from the coming shortages because we live in the U.S. But the U.S. food production is hit by one disaster after another. We had historic June heat. It was 109 index here in Iowa last week, and I think it's going to get it again. Monday night into Tuesday, 125 million people, which is a third of the population, were under heat alerts across much of the central and eastern states. Tulsa, Memphis, St. Louis, Minneapolis, Cincinnati, Raleigh, and Charlotte were all under the heat warnings, and so is Iowa. Chicago residents on Monday fled to their basements and nearby shelters when a surprise tornado ripped through the city, as it experienced 100-degree weather for the first time in a decade. The other night, middle of the night, it was midnight, everybody's sleeping, and we get a tornado siren going off and a tornado warning. So I get it. Needless to say, this sort of weather was not welcomed by farmers in our agricultural heartland. I was particularly surprised to see a high temperature of 108 degrees in North Platte, Nebraska, which is by my house. Which is by my state. The mercury in North Platte, Nebraska hit 108. I'm not very far from North Platte, Nebraska. St. Louis record of 98 degrees from the same year was also broken on Monday. Charlotte, North Carolina hit 98, and Nashville, Tennessee 97. To have an excessive heat warning this early in the year is kind of unusual. I'm not going to say anything, but I have suspicions. Summer hasn't even really started yet. And then how about the Kansas, where they had at least 2,000 cattle deaths? And that's in Kansas alone. The deaths add pain to the U.S. cattle industry as reduced herds due to drought and grappled with feed costs that climbed as Russia's invasion of Ukraine tightened global grain supplies. This breaks my heart, you guys, for our nation. They said the cattle, 2,000 of them at least, died as the temperatures and humidity just climbed. Another source is reporting that the true death toll in Kansas is actually around 10,000, not 2,000. The Kansas feedlots had a blazing heat that killed an estimated 10,000 head of fat cattle. Final death numbers continue to come in, but that early estimate was shared with the DTN by livestock experts. Cattle have been dying in other states as well, and it's just sad. We need to pray, God. Yellowstone National Park could be closed indefinitely as devastating flooding continues to ravage the towns, roads, and bridges along the Yellowstone River. Park officials characterize the severe flooding tearing through the region as a once-in-a-thousand-year event, that it could alter the course of the Yellowstone River and surrounding landscapes forever. The river's volume is flowing at 20,000 cubic feet per second, faster than the previous measured in the 90s. It's difficult to overstate the devastation that this flooding has caused for ranchers and farmers. Things will never be the same for them. On top of everything else, how about another mysterious fire just happened? A pizza plant in Wisconsin burned to the ground. I heard today that there was a baby food plant that just got flooded out. You guys, come on. All these food plants getting burned. Don't you think that's a little strange? We're kind of skipping through. And they're talking about the fire and the huge thing of fire. I'm not going to go into that much more. Let's see what else we got. Cosmetics giant Revlon just filed for Chapter 11. And I believe also they said that they have not, there's a supply chain disruption. So that's another. Dow plummets 700 points. Falls below 30,000 to the lowest level in more than a year. We are about to witness an epic alignment of 5 planets and the moon, and it won't happen again till 2040. I'm just reading some of the headlines. You guys, Israel and Iran could be on the verge, on the very brink of a major war over Tehran's nuclear program, and what was the atomic equivalent of a controlled clash between the two countries is now devolving into an unconstrained chain reaction. Okay, I'm not going to read any more on that. Food shortage, worries continue. As farms being crushed by diesel fuel prices. Come on, you guys. This just seems organized to just make our lives a living heck. This farmer said he's got a tractor hooked up to his corn planter out there, no diesel fuel, can't afford to get any. This is so sad. It's like starvation mode coming, you know? It's